All right, guys, welcome to another live show. Uh, my guests today and my hosts today are Chad, Dave, and the newest one member of our team, Joshua. Um, this show is going to be just our own personal encounters a little bit and just some discussions of various topics and a little bit of sharing. So hopefully, you guys enjoy this. And so let's start it off. Okay. Josh, you're the newest member. You hail from Texas. Tell us a little bit about your backstory and some of your encounters you've experienced.
Yeah, like you said, I'm from Texas. From originally from Cypress, Texas. Um, I grew up with the subject of Bigfoot and some of the other cryptids, and mainly due to my father. He's also big into it as well. And we knew a lot about the subject. We watched a lot of documentaries and shows, and kind of did our own research. And not out in the field as of yet. We didn't start going out in the field until I actually had my own experience, kind of out in the Sam Houston area. But yeah, that's basically what got me up to that point. I'm a big outdoorsman. I love to hunt and I love to fish, backpacking, hiking, camping out in the woods.
Yeah.
In general. And so, I grew up doing that with my father and my grandparents. My whole family are big campers. Everybody in my family owns a camper, just about. But anyways, I'd say, what really got me into the field was my first experience. It was a weekend, and I think it was around, May. It was around May. It was pretty warm. Hadn't rained in a while, so it was a little dry. And we decided we wanted to backpack in for the weekend. A good, I'd say 3, 4, 5 miles into Sam Houston. And the trail we picked is pretty rough. So it took us almost all day to get to where we wanted to camp. And so we walked a good while in. Nothing weird happened going in. Birds chirping. We passed a few creeks and lakes and rivers, and it was beautiful out there. We found a good spot next to a creek, and we started walking around gathering wood. We had a couple walkie-talkies with us, a couple flashlights. Of course, way to start a fire, and some MREs. A lot easier. A lot of canteen water and all the basic survival stuff. Anyways, we started setting up. We set up the tent, and we explored a little bit, and kept in touch with the walkie-talkies. Kind of separated, kind of exploring the area. I did a little fishing in the creek, and didn't really have much luck. And then we got back to camp. Started getting the fire going, and as soon as the sun started dropping, we hear this really loud whoop. And when this happened, it whooped, and there was a few seconds to where it was quiet, and both me and my dad looked at each other and basically went, "No way." No way. And well, right after that, we heard another one. I believe it was to the left of us, and then to the right, and then to the front, and then back behind us. And this basically went on all night long, all around us. And it made us a little nervous because we weren't sure what it meant. We had no way to record anything. We weren't out there investigating or anything like that. We were kind of just enjoying the outdoors, and it kind of just dropped on us like that. I didn't really sleep. I kept the fire going because I was nervous. In the back of my mind, I kind of had an idea of what it could have been. Right. My father had worked the night before, so he passed out pretty quick.
Alone.
And my brother went to sleep. He's younger than me. He's the youngest. But I couldn't. I didn't. I've seen the documentaries. I watched the Boggy Creek videos. I know what could happen, and that kept running through my mind. But the whoops, they were very well. Each one sounded just like the other. There was nothing. There wasn't. One was no different than the other, and basically it stopped as soon as the sun popped up behind the trees. Immediately ceased, and then right after that, it felt, to me, it kind of felt a little strange. It was really quiet the next day. No birds, not really any wind either. It was, we weren't nervous at all by any means after the sun came up, because we could see where we were going. But then we basically headed back out and hiked back, kind of hiked out, and went back home. And I know when we got home, we started looking up animals to see, what could possibly make that sound. And the first thing that popped in my teenage mind was a whooping crane, and of course whooping cranes don't whoop. It's just a name.
Right.
So, and I found that out as soon as I looked it up, and I'm like, man, there's got to be something that's making this noise. There's no way. And, we just could not find anything. And that's when we started getting pretty heavy into it. And we started going to conferences and talking to other people. And it wasn't until recently where my dad and me would go out there. And I've been out there a few other times. And then I know actually last year I went out with him, with a buddy of his. And they hear some weird stuff out there, quite a bit. Very, very common is coyotes. And then you hear something in the background trying to hide amongst the coyotes that doesn't sound human. But that's what brought me into the subject pretty big. And then ended up moving up here, and my dad still goes out there on his own, or not on his own, but with a buddy of his. And then I came up here trying to find, do my own sort of research. And I already knew quite a bit about Michigan before I even came up here. I hear a lot of dogman stories, and
oh yeah.
And I know Michigan's a big dogman area compared to a lot of other states. In Texas is not. I don't really hear a lot of it. And then I know there was an instance in Texas that really kind of struck a chord with me. Was a cover up. An attempted cover up, I should say. You won't find any record on it or anything. I've talked to y'all about it before about, I don't remember the story exactly, but it a couple people were basically, I'd say killed and left very unusually. Like the heads were twisted clean off. That's basically the short and sweet of it. And that's what really, kind of hit home for me with, these things are real. They're out there, and real. And I want to try and I want, as weird as it sounds, I want my class A. I want to see one of these things. And that would make my day just to have a class A like that. And I came up to Michigan, and like I said, I was doing some research, and I started up my podcast, and met a lot of really neat people through this. It really opened up a lot of doors for me.
What's the name of it?
The name of my podcast is Hide and Seek Archives. I believe I'm only up to 9 episodes right now, but I've got about 500 viewers at the moment, so I'm really excited about it.
Okay. So everyone check it out.
Yep. And
subscribe and all that. So yeah. So I want to go back to your encounters, but yeah, just keep going. It's all good stuff.
But yeah, I know I started doing a little research because I live in the Allegan County area, and I try to do a little research out in here. I knew there's been sightings in the past, but nothing really recent. And I've been in touch with hunters and stuff like that, and they kind of either laugh at me and go, "Oh, they ain't real," or because they're not out there looking for anything. And I've hunted the Allegan Woods multiple times, and I don't really see anything weird out there. Part of me kind of wishes or hopes there is. But that kind of got me a little discouraged a little bit. And this was before the podcast. Okay. And I talked to a lot of hunters in the area and kind of outside the area, and go onto hunting pages and be like, "Y'all ever see anything weird out there?" And they're like, no. And then I decided, I listened to a lot of Sasquatch Chronicles. I grew up on it. I loved it. It's a passion of mine. I used to fall asleep listening to it. And I knew one day I want to do that. I want to do a podcast, my own podcast. I want to talk to people and interview people and, eventually expand my knowledge to where I can possibly help other people who are having problems.
Yeah.
And I started up my podcast, and I know I got a chance to speak to some tribe members up here in Michigan, and they told me some really awesome stuff because they found me through the podcast, and a lot of stuff I can't discuss publicly because they don't want me to. But they did tell me some cool stuff, and then I met Linda, and she wanted to do one of my shows, and through that I met Chad and Dave and talked to them and ended up going out with them, and lo and behold, I ended up becoming an LCC researcher.
Yeah. Well, you and Chad went camping and had some possible activity, and you guys roughed it out in some pretty bad weather. You guys want to talk about that?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was definitely an adventure. We had a cabin out there, and me and Chad had set up some tents, kind of out in the Waterloo area, off a horse trail. No designated area, but anyways, I'd say the horse trail went in about half a mile, and then off the horse trail we walked in a good ways and into a kind of a peninsula surrounded by swamp. It was real good area. And it was me, Chad, and Kevin when we first walked in. He was helping us set up tents and all that, and we saw some structures and some odd things walking in, and some breaks, and and you can never say that was Bigfoot. It's just like that's right. Really weird.
Catches your eye though, right?
Yeah,
in the back of your head, like
I'm gonna make note of that. But we got in a little closer, and you see where this balloon had popped and fallen down in the woods, and it was stuck up in the bush. It said "Happy Birthday" on it. It was a silver balloon. You couldn't miss it. If you're in visually, you wouldn't miss it for at least a mile if you could visually see it. But we passed that, and we walked by, and saw like a bottle stuck in a tree and some sticks leaning up against the trees, and I saw that a lot out there, and that to me was a little strange. I never saw that in Texas, but out here I see it everywhere out in that area. I never saw that in Allegan, but I see that a lot out there, and that to me is a little weird. Just that in that aspect. But we walked in, and we set up our tents, and got those good, and it was I believe it was sunny, wasn't it, Chad? It was sunny at that point.
I wouldn't say sunny. It wasn't raining.
No, it was not, and it was comfortable. And then
it was warm. It was like 48 degrees.
And I know we got in there. There was like a hunting stand out there, and we were like, "Oh, I wonder how we can utilize that." And and it was a perfect view of the swamp. It would have been great. it would have been perfect, and it is a perfect area. Anyways, we hiked back out, and we went back to the cabin, had some really awesome chili, Dave's chili. And then I went out with Dave, Tyler, Gabe, Linda, and Brandon, I believe his name was Brian. Yeah, Brian. Didn't really get a chance to talk to him a lot. I would like to get a chance to do that. And we walked down a trail, and that was real neat. I believe we caught an owl, some eye shine from an owl. Tyler saw some strange stuff behind the owl. I believe he said he saw some red lights behind that were pretty strange. And then I think Linda and them heard some strange stuff coming back out. And and I know there was a couple times where behind me I thought I heard something, but it was like, I'm not going to say, hey, I heard something when I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
But that was fun. That was a really cool trail. A lot of steep slopes. You could see up on the slope. So if there's anything kind of hiding up there, I had my headlamp spotlighting up there because I'm really looking for that eye shine. That's something I always look for when I'm out in the woods is the eye shine. I'm usually pretty good at spotting that kind of stuff. I always have been. I can't tell you why, but it's, but yeah, we did that, and then we walked back out, and I think we got back to the cabin about 10:30, and just almost immediately me and Chad. It was dark at this point, and it had started raining. Cats and dogs. It was coming down pretty good. Yeah. So we geared up in some rain gear, and we hopped in the car and drove out to the spot where you walk into the horse trail. And we walked in. We had marked the point where we left the trail, so we knew where to go in at. And we started walking. We got around where the balloon was, and we noticed something looked different. And as we got closer, we saw this structure had been kind of put together right in front of. I don't want to say structure. It was a limb on a limb, a really big limb, and I had remembered I made a mental note of the balloon because it was a marker. So I remember what it looked like. And on top of that, Chad is pretty tall, about 6'4". He's a tall guy. That stick hanging from that limb, he would have hit his head on that easily. And that was in the direct path of, where we went when we had left from putting the tents up. That was not there. And it was kind of into the ground, leaned up. That from what I could tell, it was put there intentionally. I don't see how that would have fallen like that. There was nothing above it that looked like it would have come, from it came from that tree. No, there was nothing like that. But that was the first thing that was like, whoa, that I know that wasn't there. And as we got in, because from the balloon, it's not much further to the tents. So as we got closer to the tents, we saw some eye shine in the camp that was pretty high. Not really up in the trees, but almost like something was standing in the camp. And it was yellow eye shine. Both me and Chad saw it. And we started getting closer, and it kind of looked like it left to the right. And during all this, it's still raining. It's pretty loud. And we get into the camp, and we went to get in the tents because it's raining. There's not much we can do outside in this rain. So we get in the tent, I start putting my stuff in the tent, and
we had to get our gear in there, not just us being out there. What else we packed in. We didn't want to get soaked. Yeah, definitely. And I happened to look off to the right, and I noticed my headlamp is really bright.
a really good headlamp. It's got a spotlight and a regular light, and you can put them both on at the same time, so it illuminates and spots, which I had both on at the time. And I had it on that there was kind of a brush line up against the swamp before you actually get into the swamp, and there was this black mass hiding, looked like it was kind of hiding, blending in behind the brush, and it was black, like tar, I'd say black. And when I illuminated, I could see, you know, a little bit of shine, and I don't want to say it was eye shine. It was pretty bright, but it could have been a big, you know, droplet of water. But that whatever that was, it was black. And I remember saying to Chad, I said, I see a kind of a black mass over there. And I ended up looking away, and when I looked back, it was gone. There was nothing black there. And the crazy thing was, it was where the eye shine, the direction the eye shine had gone.
It had moved off to.
It moved off to, yeah. And so it you know, we didn't really hear nothing as we were getting into the camp, but we saw it. I was gonna say it, but the eye shine. And then, you know, we sat in the tents and we talked and just made sure we could hear each other.
I heard a lot of rain, so that's what I mostly heard.
It's raining heavily, yeah.
Pouring. I mean,
yeah,
literally.
And then I think it was about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour in. You could hear something walking behind my tent. Mm-hmm. Couldn't really make out what it was. You know, the rain muffled a lot.
Right.
But you could definitely hear it, and it was walking pretty slowly from what I could hear. Kind of strolling, I guess.
It didn't move fast.
No, it was not. It was not in a hurry at all. But, and then I know, you know, Chad's tent sprung a leak.
And a leak, right?
Yeah.
It sprung Niagara Falls.
Yeah. And I know Boris, you know, ended up taking his sleeping bags because he was shivering because he got wet on the way in, of course. And,
yep,
Squatch Dog.
The special treatment.
And I froze. Come on, Squatch Dog, make an appearance. Come here. Get up. Come on. Let everybody know your daddy loves you and gave you his sleeping bag, and he froze to death all night. Yep.
Yeah, you know, it's December, right? Or it's December, right? Mm-hmm. Still, it's basically was, you know, snow out the next week. So I know how much did you guys really shiver out there, though?
Well, it dropped from almost 50 during the day when we set the. I sweated putting the tent up, but then a front came in, the rain came in, it dropped down into like, I don't know, Dave, what do you think? Josh, I think it dropped down 34.
I had a strip of layer.
Low 30s.
And then
it's definitely the low 30s.
When it got dark, it dropped big time. I know in general I was pretty toasty. I had a pretty good sleeping bag and a blanket.
It was good to have the right gear.
Yeah. And the tent is a backpacking tent, so it's good for, you know, high elevations because I ended up getting it from Colorado, so it did pretty good for me. But I mean, I gotta
say it, Josh. Your tent was water. Your tent was waterproof. Mine wasn't. Just
it was. I waterproofed it. I waterproof it before every trip, just in case.
Yeah, you know, you're supposed to get the that spray on and stuff. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to do it every so often, but I've been there, Chad. I know I've been there.
But yeah, that was definitely an adventure, and
it's very very interesting. You guys had some interaction. It seemed like, and you had a branch in a trail where, Chad, you would have ran into it. You're 6'8", right? I mean, you would have dunked your head pretty easily.
I'll promise it was not there. It's the same way in, the same way out. It was not there. I would have seen it. It's like at my eye level, right at my head, I would have seen it. It wasn't there. And I pay attention. You know, I pay attention.
Yeah.
And
especially, you know, when you have to watch where you're going with your head, so that's very interesting. Plus, you guys seen something in camp, and then plus, you seen something trying to hide, and of course, the classic: as soon as you look away, it moves away. right?
And
You know,
in a way,
it's not a deer. It's not
It
deer
went.
standing
It
up
went
there.
into the swamp too. That's where it went. It went into the swamp.
and it almost seemed to almost in a way seemed to fade away, like it was walking away. Because when I had first seen it, it was really hard to tell. It was like kind of one of those things where you look and you're like, huh.
You know, I think it's just the way their I don't know if the hair just adapts to the light and diffuses it or whatever it does, but I mean, yeah, you're staring at it, but you don't quite. It doesn't register. It doesn't hit you until it moves, and then you're like, okay, wait a minute, that was actually something big standing right there. How big do you think it was? By standing in the camp, and by how big the shape was?
I'd say
Just an estimate, you know.
just from the darkness I could see behind that bush and the size of that bush, it looked like it might have been hunched down, kind of balled up. I didn't see any form or shape whatsoever. I just saw the mass. It was a pretty big mass. I'd say it was the size, close to the size of Chad's tent, which is, how big is your tent, Chad?
3 foot high, probably.
3 foot high, and probably how wide?
4
Because
foot. 4 foot.
when it hunched down, it wasn't very high, but it was pretty.
It's wide.
It was pretty, wide. And and I knew it's like there shouldn't be that black, something that black in the woods. That's not, that's kind of
right, standing out behind the background.
Really stood out.
Yeah.
Again, I was pointing my light upward, not like I was shining up like King Kong or nothing. Okay, but
right.
And we were probably only 20 yards away. But I couldn't. All I could see was the eye glow, the eye reflection.
There's like no trees right next to camp where like a raccoon is on the tree and you're seeing the raccoon, right? It wasn't a raccoon.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah. You know, and you guys, it's funny is it all happens, within a couple hours of you guys setting up a tent and going out. It's amazing and what they do. And to see if you react, if they put a tree or a limb in front of you, Chad, for you to like hit your head or for you to notice.
And it was like at almost the exact height of my head. It's like, I found that weird too.
Is that thing literally gonna wait there and watch to see if you hit your head there or see if you notice it? Like,
well, it was from there we were like 40 yards from camp, probably
right,
30 yards from camp, and heading towards the camp from there. Obviously, it was in the camp. It probably was watching.
Checking you guys out.
What it watched is it watched us check out what they did. So now it realizes we know that something did that. It realizes that.
Is it watching for that?
Would you think? It's wondering. Do they know? Yes, it's wondering. So maybe it did. Who knows? Did it do that to see and wait, knowing we're coming back to our camp, and wait to see if we noticed it? And if we notice that and pay attention to it, now it knows that we're onto them? Just saying. I don't know.
It's hard to say.
And it could have been what was sneaking behind my tent for all we know.
Could be.
Most likely. I mean, I would assume if a Bigfoot's in the area and it's still hanging around, it's going to be sneaking around all night. Unless it has other priorities, food, protection of its family, something with shelter. If it's not preoccupied with stuff that takes priority, it's going to be curious and messing and observing us. I think so. It makes sense. So
all in all, Josh, did you have fun?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll tell me having to come rescue the next morning story on another show. You've got to save that one. 30 minutes in, and there's people there's Gabe, there's I think Linda. There's people here if you want to. You might need to directly message them because I think Gabe tried to get in. I think
it's on the our group chat, guys. So
yeah.
Dave, what do you think? What did you think about that? That whole event you guys did and went to and had the things happen.
It's a pretty good area. And not only were they way out in the woods on the end of on the edge of a swamp, and but they also were quite a drive out to the woods where you go through a lot of dirt roads and one-lane dirt roads that lead out there. So you're truly, really out in the middle of nowhere, is what I would say. And I hiked in with them on the way back to tear up the camp, and we have that on Facebook, so you can see that film on Facebook of us going back to tear up the camp, and you can see the branch, and you can see the Mylar balloon, and all of that stuff. I would say in all a very interesting night. The area is very viable, I think, very squatchy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reports and encounters, BFRO, and our own, a lot of members of our team. I think the majority, of our team members have had some sort of encounter, heard stuff happen, found tracks within the areas or surrounding areas.
Right.
Definitely viable, and we've had witness reports from the area too. So, and it goes back decades, I think. So, yeah, back when we had our first Waterloo expedition this summer, we had some interaction when it was a heavy rainstorm, and they were walking around, and
I was a tornado. Thank you.
Yes,
it was
severe tornado warning. It actually passed over us and landed some miles away, but
a couple miles away. Yep.
But when we actually finally retreated to the cars, and everyone retreated to the cars at that point.
What? Where did I retreat to a car? Come on, tell it how it is.
Tent. Chad was in the tent. He got flooded and stuff.
Again,
my tent was already flooded at that point, so I was in the car, and I heard drumming, thump 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 thump, and I was
like on a tree or a log, or
it sounded right behind me.
Like a drum.
I thought it was Chad on the car saying, let me in, because he's all wet and stuff. And I was like, Squatch Dog needs to come in and stuff. But I look, and there's nothing, and I'm looking beside me, and, the car next to me, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's him, and then, Brian's, 20 yards behind that. I'm thinking, well, maybe it's that. And, I listen to stuff, and I'll pass out, and I got James texting me. I'm already sleeping. He's like, hey, do you hear that? It sounds like drumming. Coming over you by my way and behind him, and Linda started hearing and possibly seeing something moving around camp. I know when Ernie left, he popped his headlights on, and boom, he seen something, and it ran to avoid the headlights. And it wasn't us running to hide from the headlights. And it was out in the storm, like basically nothing was happening. Running around camp, making noises. It seemed like it was circling and stuff, because the drumming noises were on different sides, and so it's very interesting that again during a heavy rainstorm or heavy rain, that they're out active and messing around with people, because people again get to a certain point and where you take shelter, get dry, you got to protect your electronics, and so they take advantage of that.
Do you think they do it because they can hide their movement?
They hide their movement, some sound, the smell. They get a bath. So yeah.
Right.
I'm sure that's the one reason they're out in it, for sure. But a lot of people, I think, because the majority of people don't go in the woods when it's raining, especially heavy rain.
Right.
So I think that's
only sane people stay out of the rain. Then you've got me and Josh and you.
You got the LCC, and
then you got
groups out there. There are a lot of people out there.
There are people. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Where do we go from here? Now that all the children are grown up, how do we spend our time? Knowing nobody gives us a damn.
Yeah.
You know that song, don't you? Where do we go from here now that all the children are grown up? And how do we spend our time knowing nobody gives us a damn? You know that song, right?
You have quite a bright future there, Chad.
Yeah, I'm going from Bigfoot to Rockstar. Where do we go from here? What do we want to talk about?
Well,
do we have any other members that want to join us? Or
I see Gabe there. Gabe's there. I don't.
Come on in, guys. You know what the link's at. It's,
Come on, Gabe.
Not open, but you know what? I think here's a good time. Not many people seen our intro that we did at the beginning.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Do that.
Do it again. Do it again. It's
Josh
new.
So
yeah,
let's do that. Man, that is slick. Thank you again, Josh, for that.
Josh.
Very nice, buddy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What do you guys think? Let's see that in the chat. What do you guys think about that? It's gonna be our new intro for a little bit, and we're gonna be doing other stuff. And you know what? We're gonna be coming out with a lot of little things like that all the time. So we got a lot of projects planned, a lot of places to go, a lot of things that we're dreaming up, trying to do, and we've got a great team. We know a lot of valuable members that make that happen. So
They're willing to do it. Take their own time and get it done when it needs to be done.
We have a lot of people doing that, and a lot of projects coming. A lot of stuff that we have. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't been released. A lot of our expedition from the Wago.
What happened?
For someone.
I don't know. Somebody's in trouble. I heard somebody get yelled at. It wasn't me. Not this time.
No, not me.
Anyways, there's unreleased stuff, so there's gonna be some stuff coming out. There's certain evidence that's we haven't really brought out and stuff because we're trying to collect and stuff and have a bunch of stuff to bring out to you guys. So,
not to mentioning editing help is needed in some of this. Listening to audio, we have to do it all.
Yeah, we got like 100 hours of audio to go through that I know we got stuff on. Hundreds of hours of video. I mean, I've gone through most of the video I've always got. A lot of stuff that are going to be coming out. We're doing, and like Josh was just explaining in chat, this what they seen. This just happened, just a couple weeks ago. This is the brand new stuff, and we're going to be
now. Hunting season's over out at the farm too, and where Alex had his encounter. His actual Class A, and where Dave and I would call it something. I'm not going to call it an encounter, but Dave and I both right
in the silhouette and eye shine.
Yeah, and yeah.
I mean, we got so much stuff that we're trying to do all the time that when
up north
gets rolling this year, I think you guys, it's gonna hopefully blow everyone away.
What about the up north secret location that we're doing in no date to be named yet in February?
I'm excited about that.
I am too. February.
There's a great location, filming. We're also doing an extreme expedition too, which is going to be pretty rough in it. We're going to be hiking some miles into no man's land, basically, and trying to survive. Basically, bring whatever supplies we got and last out there for hopefully a full week. If we can make it a full week out there, and definitely get some evidence of Sasquatch, which we actually have from that area. But it's bear infested and stuff. So
let's
crazy.
just say the name of the place we're going isn't desirable.
No,
it's got a bad name.
But so yeah, we got a lot of stuff up in the UP. So hopefully bring you guys a lot of good stuff, and of course the live show we're doing starting back up finally again, and pumping these shows out for you. We're gonna have a lot of good guests, of course, and I'm excited. I'm happy. I think we're growing. We're doing great this year already. I mean, and the Bigfoot community is too. I see. I mean, a lot of people are getting some good evidence. A lot of people are having some great shows out there.
They're starting to get along too. More and more people are getting along and collaborating, helping each other. And you know, the new researchers, the people that are willing, that have climbed aboard, that we've all accepted. You know, Tyler was one of the latest. Now we got Josh. Now we got Donna to add to the female group to help cook and do dishes. No, I'm kidding, girls. I'm kidding.
Yeah, they are very.
I can't believe you went there.
You know me. I had to. You know I had to go there.
They're bait. They're the bait. No, we value them because you know it brings a good perspective, different perspective than men, and Sasquatch pick might act better, and so got to use it to our advantage. Everything. Plus, these women are great. They're great at what they do. They're very knowledgeable, and they've been out in the field with us. And
very good researchers.
Yeah, exactly.
And they all bring a needed thing, you know. From nurse to comedian, camp comedian Sherry, and then you've got the best host, which is Michelle.
Yes.
And then Mary's new. Donna, we haven't even met her yet, but she's on board. She's follows us.
Yep.
You know, Chad, whatever you say, Chad, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna dig yourself out of that. You're still gonna be doing the dishes.
Yeah.
for saying that.
A couple months now.
All right, I'm buying disposable stuff. I'm bringing it.
There you go.
And Boris. Yeah. Oh no, better yet, Boris can clean them.
There you go. Yeah, all of our team members, they're very dedicated individuals, and they have a lot of experience in encounters, and so when we all get together, it's fun, and we get down to business, and we try.
We all like each other. We all like each other too. I mean, we really do. We're all different. We all have our different quirks, but we really do like each other.
Yeah, that's the main thing. We got everyone's back, and we're out in the field in those situations. We got everyone's back. That's the main point, because like you were saying, Josh, earlier, when you and your dad were having all these whoops around you, and you get some crazy situations like that, you need to make sure that the person next to you, is capable and got your back and can handle himself and not freak out and do something that makes them freak out.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes you comfortable and the other person comfortable.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's a wake-up call when you get interaction that's close to you.
Do we have any questions, Chad?
Yes.
I haven't seen any. Anybody have a question? Let's go. No, I haven't seen any. I keep watching.
All right.
Any questions for any of us? Or how about an encounter? What do you want? My third encounter? My last daylight sighting? I can give that. in a few minutes. I went to West Virginia. Well, you didn't answer. Do you want it or not?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, buddy.
All right.
Share away, man.
I went to meet Fred Canny and Connie Fox in West Virginia several years back. And that is my last face-to-face daylight Class A, face-to-face. It was weird how it happened. I got there, and Fred had to run into town, and I got there at like 6:30 in the morning. He's like, Connie, show Chad around. Fred goes into town, starts his car up. It was loud, like no muffler. Takes off. I'm following Connie, but then I'm checking out structure stuff. So Connie's getting way in front of me, and she's walking, not paying any attention. And I start trying to catch up to her, and I get to this opening, and in the opening's to the left, and I look, and it's a little short field, maybe 120 feet across. And I look, and standing there is not a gigantic Bigfoot, but either a person Fred size in a costume, which I heard him just drive off, or like a juvenile Bigfoot. And it's just staring at Connie, because in this opening, it could see Connie, but it wasn't even looking at me. It's just staring at Connie. And I yelled, "Connie, there's one." The minute I yelled that, this thing actually turns and looks at me. Not like turning its head, turns its whole body. And look, because its body's facing Connie, its head turns its whole body and looks right at me. And then it takes one or two steps back, and you can't see it anymore. It's gone. It's not cloaking. It just stepped back and blended in. And
it could be their hair. It's what some people are finding, that their hair does something to the light. It does whatever. And, it makes them fuzzy, makes them disappear or blend in. Animals could do that. A tiger could blend in, right? Be right there, 5 feet from you, ready to pounce, and you're not going to see it. It's because if it does not.
Hey, Dave, how about that woodpecker?
What about it?
That woodpecker at Seven Gables. Now, listen, how well did that thing blend, and how amazing is it that we spotted it?
Very well. It was up in a tree. It was in a hole in a tree, totally tucked into the tree. You could only see its back, and even then, it was really hard to see. It was really hard to see unless you knew to look at it, really. But it did blend in very, very, very well.
So we got some questions here. Have we ever seen a shelter woven into a structure that is long, about 4 feet high, 10 to 12 feet long? I've seen vines wrapped up, and it made like a tunnel, basically, where I could have laid in there to sleep or something. But I would say that was mostly natural, and probably the hole was manipulated.
What about my area, Blake? I mean, what about that? That's all interwoven vines and branches. It's like, and it's about
structure within a structure, but it's definitely, it's manipulated to grow like that. It seems like, because they use it,
right?
And all the escape routes out the back.
I've seen den-like structures like that as well. And the thing is, in the summertime when it gets green and all the leaves and everything on the trees and the brush, you're not going to see into it. You're not going to see through it.
Exactly. If these creatures don't move, you ain't going to see it. Humans, we pick up on movement out in the woods. That's why we pick out a deer and stuff. We're not good at picking out things that are just still standing there, unless we really concentrate on it. And,
not to interrupt, you asked if people had questions. You've got a few to go back through.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Chad being Chad.
Me being me. That's what you love about me.
Carry weapons, sidearms, rifles. Yeah, it depends on where we go, mostly. Some places, nothing at all, besides maybe a knife. And then other places, yeah, we carry pistols, rifles, shotguns, whatever you got, because these creatures are massive, powerful, and sometimes unpredictable, but also other animals, bears, wolves, mountain lions. Go ahead.
Unpredictable humans.
Yes, the most dangerous animal.
It's the guy out in the woods wearing the clown suit with the axe that worries me.
Yeah. Oh, my thing's messing up. I'm not sure what it's doing.
All right. We had other questions too. So.
Okay. Let me know where that's at.
There's a Timmy Blake question. That's a pretty good question. No, you skipped
Like
it.
a beaver dam on land.
No.
Definitely nothing like a beaver dam.
You end up with branches that are just really intertwined and woven around each other, in a manner that just seems really unnatural. If that
Hey,
makes sense.
let's all
Sometimes
give
they're
our
random
opinion
too.
on. You accidentally skipped one, and it's one that I think we should all give our opinion on. It was right before the last one. It was
Timmy boy
Timmy Boy. Yeah, I mean,
is
let's give our
common.
opinion. Yeah, it's
You
a
ever
question.
notice that every place
No,
there's
no. Timmy Boy asks, "So
but that
you
is true
think?"
though. That is very very
So
true.
no, there's a one. It says, "So you think?" Okay, I'll read it.
Yeah.
So you think just acting natural around the camp is better than walking around from area to area to stir something up? Okay, so basically what he's asking is, are you better off just sitting in camp being natural, not looking for Bigfoot, or are you better off running through the woods trying to stir stuff up? Go ahead, somebody. I'll answer it too. But
Me, I feel like a little bit of both. Honestly, I think it is better just to sit and hang out and listen, and then possibly walking around for a little bit than hanging out a little more.
There is a lot to be said. There is a lot to be said about going out in the woods and finding a nice log and just sitting there and listening for an hour, 2 hours, just listening to nature, listening to the movement, and just being part of nature and letting it come to you, not necessarily having to go out and go get it and all the things that go with that. What do you think?
well, in
Go ahead.
my opinion, you are better off acting oblivious to them. You really are. What I found is they will get closer and closer to you. Now, if you're out looking for them, that doesn't mean that they won't approach you and get and have interactions with them. But they will figure out if you're looking for them. They figure it out. They know they're watching you. They're seeing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Out there, what I like to do, okay, is I interact with the other nature. I don't like to do Bigfoot calls. I will. Somebody asks every now and then I do. But if owls start hooting, I try to interact with them. If coyotes start going, I try to continue them going and listen for the results after that, and mimics and things like that. I'm not, to sit there and pound on trees. That's not me. Now, if something did knock to me, I would probably try to knock back. But I'm not going to knock first. Just saying. All right, Blake, now it's you.
I like to agree with what Dave was saying. Is sit out in the woods and just listen and stuff. I think it's a little bit of both approaches help. Being oblivious,
Sure.
but acknowledging them. Like there's been times where I thought I was having activity, would not, I'd acknowledge something. I think I'd throw something at them and like act playfully, and then I'd run away, and then like act oblivious, and then I'd go about to do stuff. And it seems like I've had activity after that and stuff that I don't know. They might pick up on that. It's curious behavior that you do that might help you their response more.
And
If you
even
acknowledge them
different.
and then you ignore them, I think that they're like, well, what the heck's going on with this? He knows that we're out here, we're doing this, but then he just ignores it.
It makes them curious.
I think
And
it depends
even
on
even different responses for men and for women out there, getting different responses in terms of what they're doing and in terms of what the Squatch is doing with their presence there.
Exactly. I mean, I think they're just individuals, and they are very curious. And then when they want to interact with us, they definitely will. And if when they don't, they won't. So let's take some more. Go ahead.
Sorry, Central Florida Bigfoot, we're not asking that question. We'll answer half of it. What do you think that Bigfoot think about clothes? It's like they think, well, we're different from them. That's what I think they think.
Yeah, they know, but maybe they're closer. I mean, you hear reports of them kidnapping women and raping them and having offspring. So maybe they are closely enough that it can happen. Natives have told this story, many stories, different native tribes. So, and also back in the 1700s, 1600s, for the trappers and the French and stuff, there's reports of that happening too. So,
Bigfoot wearing clothes.
I think there's several
reports
reports of animal skins, even decaying, like it's decaying right off the Bigfoot animal skins. Val has some reports about that, I believe.
Do you think do you think that could be the basis for some of like Wendigo reports and or Dogman reports? Is the fact that they're wearing part of the carcasses of other animals?
It could be. I think some are definitely misreported Sasquatch, but
Didn't Indians do that though? Didn't Indians like sneak up on animals by wearing their pelts and so?
Yep. Exactly. There's that too. There's the Skinwalker, where there's the Native American witches or a sect of Native Americans who
shaman, who knows,
who wore animal pelts and would transform into like wolves or a deer, fox, coyotes, and
right.
I've seen a dog man. Basically, it was a big wolf, and they ran.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it. What were you doing?
Yeah.
Where were you going? Tell us about it, Blake.
Man, I was coming home from grocery shopping, with my family in the car on this country road. We'd go down 1,000 times, literally down 5 minutes from the house. And it was October, first week of October. It was dark enough that we had the lights on. I had the brights on, actually, because my fiance doesn't like deer, doesn't want to hit a deer. So it was dark enough to have the brights on, but it was still light enough to see everything. And we got to the section of road, and I see it just crosses, and at first it happens fast, but happens slow motion, going 55 miles an hour. And it walks in the road, and I see it's a canine head, and I'm instantly like, cool, It's a coyote. It's crossing the road. Sweet, I'm going to see another coyote,
How big?
At that point, it's not halfway across the road yet. I was like, cool, it's a coyote. When it gets in the middle of the road, I'm like, wow, it's a wolf. It's huge. It's massive. It's long. Now, when it crosses and gets into the field, it stands up and gets up and runs on 2 legs. And that just blew us away. And I flabbergasted. I didn't even know what to think. And I'm past it. I'm like telling her, I wanted to stop, but, family in the car. I asked her, what'd you see? What was it? What'd you see? And she's like, at first I thought it was a person. I think she's seen it first. It might have been standing up and then got down to cross the road, because she said, I thought it was a person on a bike, and he started walking. He got off the bike and walked his bike, which is weird. But she said it definitely got up and walked on 2 legs, ran on 2 legs.
How big was it on 2 legs? Was it fairly tall, or what would you say?
As tall as me or taller, so I'm 6 foot, so it's at least 6 foot. Or taller. It's probably taller because, the distance away. It was hauling.
Sure.
So when it crossed the road, it was actually eye shine because the lights are reflecting off the eyes. Now it's hauling, and if you ever see a bear run and really with its head, it's digging in with its head into that movement. Wolves were doing it too. It was doing that, and it was hauling. And we could see the eyes basically were doing a rotating motion because how fast it was actually moving its head. And we could actually see it went like that. Look, because I could see not only this eye, was looking forward, but I could see the other eye because it looked at us. She said it looked at us too. And it was fast. I mean, It was hauling on 4 legs, but when it got up, it was just as fast. It seemed like.
And now she'll never
we
go
were,
camping.
and we were moving at the same time. So yeah,
you lost every chance of getting her to go out camping after that.
No,
night.
so I know that was not a Sasquatch. It was a wolf. And when it was on 4 legs, it was a huge wolf, long. I mean, the thing would have been, record setting. I would have.
There's not wolves here.
I've never seen a wolf. I've never seen a wolf in real life out in the wilds, but I can tell you when I do, I can definitely compare the size.
But none that stand on 2 legs.
The way it looked like, no, it was the way it looked like. I think I can get a picture actually really quick to share for you guys, but it was lengthy. It wasn't robust, big, muscle-bound werewolf style. It was kind of a lanky, slender, long style. I don't know if it was like a skinwalker, right, or a shaman, Native American. I don't know if it's physical, spiritual, because it's so weird. I used to think that it's just misidentification, right? It's just a Bigfoot. It's just a Bigfoot, but no, it's in fact real. And man, I'm just, it blows me away. And a weird thing happened actually is after that I had some dreams and stuff that I had some dreams that ended up coming true. And I had dreamed that we at Dewey Lake we had our campfire talks and stuff, and basically when I had told Val and you that was exactly my dream. It happened the exact same way. Val's response was the exact same way. Kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
That's really interesting you say that. When I had my sighting, I ended up with dreams like that as well. So I wonder if that's something that happens. That's really weird.
I don't know, but it was freaky. And let's see.
Phil C had a question, and I guess I could give my opinion on it. I don't know if you guys want to. There's something about the report of the firearm, which means the sound of the firearm. If we think that it makes Bigfoot run away or if it draws them in. And my opinion would be, Phil, it could possibly do both. If they're already far enough away from you and you're shooting, it would probably bring them in to see what the heck's going on. But if you fire close to them and they're not aware you're there, they would probably, it only makes sense, probably if there's a group of them, move out. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
Well, I had I've had bear encounters, I guess, up north hiking in the woods and everything. And the moment that they hear you load around into the shotgun and rack the shotgun, they know the sound and they're gone. And they'll flee the area. So my opinion is it probably drives them away when they hear shooting and or sounds associated with that. What do you think?
Come on, Josh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chime in here, buddy.
You're welcome, Phil.
Huh?
I told Phil he's welcome.
Oh.
He said thanks.
And what was the question again? I'm sorry.
What's your opinion on what do Bigfoot do on the report of a firearm, which means the sound of a firearm when it goes off? Do you think it draws them in to check you out? Do you think they run away? What would this is just an opinionated question, but what's your opinion?
My opinion, based on stories I've heard, I feel like they would try to get away from the situation because I believe they know what a gun is and what it can do. Just like I think they avoid hunting season for that very reason. So yeah, in my opinion, I don't think they necessarily run, but they make themselves non-existent. They basically make themselves scarce. That's my opinion on that.
I honestly believe that now that sometimes it doesn't matter. It depends on the individual. It depends on the situation. But I don't think it matters too much, honestly, because if that's where they live, they're not going to be going out, too far away if they don't want to. And if they want to keep an eye on you, they're still going to keep the distance. And I'm sure they realize that guns obviously can't shoot through brush and trees and all that. They've been shot at. I'm sure they've seen, even a hunter shoot at deer, you miss and stuff, you don't get the deer. So I'm sure they understand to keep stuff in between us and them. It's for their protection anyways. In my experience, I've had stuff happen to me when I was hunting. I've had woodnucks surround me and stuff. It was a 22. Do they know that it's a smaller caliber weapon? Do they know it's not as big as a big rifle? I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm sure they can smell the gunpowder. If they were close enough, they could smell it. I'm sure they can smell the metal and all that. And if they've had experience with weapons or been shot at or anything like that, hunting or been taught it, I'm sure they know to be cautious at the very least. So, all right. So I got this picture. I'm gonna try to share real quick some pictures to what it looked like,
Sure.
basically.
Sure.
While Blake's getting the pictures up, just so you know, JK, NGA, like you say, it's rumors. There's nothing we can think about it. There's no evidence that there were several Bigfoot killed at Bluff Creek. So that's what we're going to say about that.
All right, so this would be when it was standing up. It was like this. Now it didn't have human. I didn't see the paws or anything. Here, let me try to. I don't know if it was wolf paws or if it was animal legs, but when it stood up, it looked like this. Now I was looking at the backside and it was running away, but it stood up. It was like that, slender type of build. And there's another one where
looked like a coyote,
like
giant
this.
one.
When they crossed the road, it looked like this. It had nice hair on the back, and that was puffed up and raised, and it had a nice long tail, kind of like this. Now, when they crossed the road, it was a massive wolf that looked like that. When it stood up and looked kind of like the other one, the slender build, but it looked like this, standing up, exactly like this. So I mean, it was a dog, man. It was a wolf. I don't know. I mean.
Wolves don't walk on their hind legs because of hip dysplasia.
What was that?
Yeah, I said that dogs typically don't walk on their hind legs because of hip dysplasia, and they don't have the physical capability to do that.
Yeah, they don't sprint at 35 plus miles an hour. I mean, the thing was hauling on four legs to beat the car, and it was still hauling. And it was close to a house. I mean, there was a house right there. The property was right there, but it was the area that it leads to swamps and rivers. And
what do you think? Paranormal, spiritual, physical? What's your opinion?
It was definitely physically in front of me.
Did it make you feel scared?
It was shocking. It was shocking when it got up, and it was the after fact.
Okay.
We had bad dreams, and when the premonition or the I can't remember the other word of it, the dream happening in real life.
Or your fiance yelling at you saying, "No, you can't turn around."
Yeah, I want to get it. I had the GoPro right there. I just, in the moment, I trying, that didn't happen. It happened so fast, so quickly. If I knew it was a dogman as soon as it was happening, I might have been able to pull out the GoPro and stop the car and got it in the field. But when it was a coyote registered, I'm not grabbing the GoPro and stopping the car real fast. with the kids in the car to capture GoPro footage of a coyote. So, but they are real. That thing, I mean, it's a big, giant, tall wolf. Could definitely do some damage if you want to. I don't know if it's Native American stuff. I don't know. Spiritual stuff. It's physical. It's on the earth. So
you want to help Timmy out, Blake?
Yeah, I haven't seen the.
Timmy, it's kind of a question. It's a question. He wants to know from us Michigan researchers here. He's in Mobile, Alabama. There's only 2 reports in his area on the BFRO, and why don't we help him? Why don't we give him recommendations on how he doesn't have to, what to look for, how he can go find them on his own without necessarily having to use the BFRO. So you know what I'm saying?
Google Maps. Honestly, finding a viable, big chunk of woods or a river system or some type of habitat for them to use is a big thing. If it looks, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I was going to say another good one is some podcasts will actually give you general locations of good areas as well.
Yeah. Local teams from your state and stuff. I'm sure they're putting out the research and they tell you about the areas that they go to. You know, it's a good place to start.
And we've explored. Definitely getting out there. We've also explored the possibilities that they use river systems, that they use power lines, that they use railroad lines, and the like as a conduit for their movement back and forth to be undetected. So those are areas that we also look at, and we believe that there's some correlation between power lines and Sasquatches. Either they're recharging, either there's part of them that's electric. They can zap you somehow with EMF or ultra low frequencies. But we believe that there is something that correlates with that as well. But definitely in those areas as well, we believe that they use those for corridors of movement.
Timmy boy, there was 3 main things that you want to look for, but I've added a 4th. Okay, you need a food source, a viable food source. You need adequate, good water, and you need good cover. Okay, the 4th thing that I've recently added is near travel routes, like Dave was saying, power lines, railroad tracks, river systems. These are the things that you look for. You can find Bigfoot all by yourself without going to a database if you use these basic principles. And like Blake said, Google Maps, look at the terrain, look for the areas that are viable. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, Chad. Also, what you do, you go out and as well as the others, go out and you look at an area, and then you go back to the area several times to see what's changed, and that could be a good indicator of activity.
Like structures.
Yep. Go ahead. I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Double-sided coin with the structure thing, because a lot of natural stuff happened and stuff, of course. But in certain situations, like we explained earlier, where within a couple hours a branch is placed on a trail for Chad to bump into or to notice, certain situations and things do happen. And if you can document those changes and observe the changes, you might be onto something, and it might show a viable area. It at least shows connection, but you really have to study the tree breaks and everything, because I think 99% of the stuff we find are easily dismissed. I mean, even if like it looks good and we're not convinced, we're still inconclusive to us. It really has to pass the test of details. You can't find the tree it came from. You can't find a stump. You can't. The best case scenario is you find a like a pine branch inside maples and oak tree structures, and there's no pine trees around. A random branch with a different tree species is very interesting, and I think leads to manipulation, evidence of it.
Or an inverted tree, for that matter, that's rammed into the ground.
We find them.
We've come across that. We've documented that on stuff, and we got some more questions and stuff. You guys, we use laser pointers and stuff. No, but you know what? We got some good gadgets on the way. I actually have some pretty cool toys that I haven't told the team yet, but I'm trying to work on getting that. A good friend of mine has, and we're going to be using some cool stuff in the field that will be lit up and stuff. So, no laser pointers yet.
What, we putting Christmas lights out in the woods now, or what?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's Christmas time. No, there's some toys and knickknacks that are pretty cool that I think the Sasquatch is gonna light up and be cool for us to use too. Why not, right? If anything, they just won't show up. They won't be around it, so it won't work. But
you can definitely try.
Yeah, there's some cool L-wire stuff. I don't know if you guys know about L-wire, but it's a little wire of a cord that lights up like a LED glow sticks.
Christmas lights. Okay.
Nah, they're not Christmas lights. But, we got a heavy question in the chat.
All right.
Let's see if I can find it.
Let's make Josh answer this one first.
Oh,
yeah.
We can all
break them in. Break the rookie in. The
Newest guy first. First.
Oh man. Let's see.
Throw him under the bus.
Just had it too. What do you think about the Dogman thing, anyways, Josh? Real quick.
Well, where I stand right now, I believe some of it's supernatural. It might be. I'm on the line of skinwalker related to demon, from reports and from what I've been able to put together, through my podcast. I hear a lot of stories. So in my opinion, I believe there is a supernatural aspect to it, for sure. And from a lot of stories I hear, they instill fear into people who usually don't get scared, like law enforcement. Not ex-military, that kind of stuff. People who see these things, that they get pretty scared pretty quick, and that, to me, if that don't speak, dangerous and supernatural, then I'm not entirely sure what does.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel somewhat compelled that it might be Native American stuff, supernatural, or not paranormal, just natural stuff, but it's just stuff we don't know, or lost cryptid stuff we don't know. Because it seems like there's a lot of high strangeness, mysteries, ancient civilizations, technologies that we just completely had amnesia to. But so you guys ready for this heavy question that has stirred and divided the Bigfoot community?
Yeah.
A couple months ago. What do you think of the rumors of the several Bigfoot being killed at the Bluff Creek? Do you guys know what that is? That would be they're claiming that Patty, the Patty film, she was shot in that. She ended up being shot and killed. Her family was shot, and she was there trying to dig up the remains and stuff. The whole basically a conspiracy of that. Do you guys know about that? Do you guys have an opinion about that?
I've heard a lot, and I heard the story in a different way also. What was happening was there was a group of them. This is one of the stories that were damaging the construction equipment and doing things, and they brought in a posse and annihilated them. That's just do we know that's what happened? No. But that is one of the stories that's out there. So do I believe? No, I don't. But can I just correct? No, anything's possible. We already know they kill these creatures if they become a nuisance. So was there a massacre? I don't know.
I think the government is definitely capable of doing that, basically a massacre, and doing away with them and covering it up, basically, so the American people never find out the actual truth of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and their presence in North America.
Go ahead, Josh.
Anybody notice anytime we say government, Dave all goes.
We're getting some feedback.
Yeah, I do believe the government knows a lot more than they're saying.
Oh boy.
That's a definite if you do your research and you look it up, you can definitely tell that the government does play a role in it. You talk to a lot of people. Les Stroud's a real good one. He'll tell you that he believes kind of the same thing. It's very apparent that they do play a part. And what part that is, we have no way of knowing. Just from what all we know is from what we hear from other people. And you get some of these guys that are on their deathbed that are telling you, things that they know and see in these bases and secret facilities that are supposed to be out there. There's many stories.
I believe they're out there.
Yeah. No, the government facilities and bases. Oh yeah, for sure, guaranteed. I mean, they've been
totally
doing that for the last 100 years, man. Was there? I don't think there's enough evidence to support it from the film. I think there's some good stuff on either side that leads both ways. But at this point, I don't think we'll ever really know, unless maybe a full complete footage of them being shot was found or released or something. But don't think it. I don't think it really matters at this point. It's sad if it did happen. It's sad because everyone loves Patty. She's iconic, and we have this kind of attachment to her. But if it was covered up with stuff, why was the film released? Right? Wouldn't that have been scrubbed too? Wouldn't that have been locked away? So, either
if they had control over it.
Right, you have just a little piece of footage that gets leaked or gets out. Who knows? But the footage is real. I think 100% it's real.
Oh yeah, I hear him from Bob Gimlin himself. It's
the footage escaped confiscation. Okay, it's all that happened. That's why we have it. It escaped. Somebody was smart enough, whether it was Patterson or his wife or Gimlin or who, they got it to somebody, because I guarantee a lot of it got confiscated, but they knew it was going to happen.
It's a good conspiracy, because it makes people think and wonder, but that stuff does happen, but I think the government would done a better job. But, honestly, they know about these things, they're not making it public for whatever reason, their own reason. And I think they know a lot more than we know, and they probably deal with it in their own ways. And who knows, they could be, there's a lot of theories on them. They could be caveman, right? They could be just brainless apes. They could be like demonic Nephilim and stuff, the other extreme.
They could jump in portals and cloak and leave one footprint and levitate. And Yeah, I hear
What
this.
if the government was fighting them and they're like ants underground and they just pop out? They're just we don't know what our government has their reasons.
Alien
And,
ant farm.
I think that if it was just a dumb ape, I don't feel anymore that they would hide it just because it's an ape for the logging industry or for us camping. I don't see that as viable anymore. I really don't. It must be something way bigger than that. Because it was a dumb ape and stuff, and we have technologies that we don't need to cut down the forest to make toilet paper anymore. Okay.
What if it's smarter than us?
Yeah,
If it's people, if it's something more than animal. If it's that's what I
Sure.
think. So.
Sure.
And for a while there, gorillas were believed to not be real, and until they actually went out there and took video. Yeah, years ago.
Little
And
the giant.
I'm sorry. Well, go ahead, Dave.
And the giant squid, for that matter. People thought it was a myth, a legend, until they actually went out and found one. Not too long ago, by the way.
There's several different species or different sizes. They look different. There's gigantic squid, colossal squid, and so they're different sizes, and some are massive, 100 feet plus.
Mm-hmm.
They are the sea.
And I know they're believed to get bigger.
We don't know how big. Yeah, exactly.
You got the Ibu Gobo, okay, that's recently been proved it existed. This is a myth, and the island of Florencia. Its actual scientific name is called Homo florentia, the islands of Florence in Indonesia. And this thing was a myth, and all the tribes people that lived there talked about it's a cannibal in the jungle. Talked about it. Now they have fossils of it now that are less than 10,000 years old. Think about that. Less than 10,000 years old. They have fossils of this thing that supposedly didn't exist. I mean, look at the Timothy Darrow story. The guy, the cannibal, killed his. I mean, it's a real story. It really happened. You can look it up in the old newspapers. He was sentenced to life in prison, died in prison in Indonesia. Our government tried to get him back. They wouldn't release him.
There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of creepy stuff, spiritual stuff, I think, too. Paranormal stuff. I think that plays a lot of things in haunted forests, too. There's, when I seen the orb and stuff, there was Bigfoot in the area. We had activity, but I don't know if that orb is associated with Bigfoot or if that's a different paranormal thing happening. That's why, it might be all connected, too, which could be a scary thing to think about. If it's all connected. This high strangeness, this weirdness, paranormal, Bigfoot stuff. But there's a lot of things out there I think we just don't understand that obviously the government knows a lot more about it. And, I think some circumstances it's probably better that they keep it under wraps than for everyone to know, or because sometimes, too much knowledge is a bad thing. So in the wrong hands or the hands of the masses. What do we? Go ahead.
That's true. That I found that in my line of work and whatnot, that only about 10% of stuff that happens actually is found out about and makes the news. The rest of it is never known about, and I think Bigfoot is one of those things that is never known about because it would panic the American public. It would strike fear. Who would take their kids to the national parks and go camping? With these things out there.
If it was an animal, and when I say animal or an ape, when I say that, apes are very smart. Obviously, we're apes and stuff, but I refer that as an animalistic, not intelligence, not sentient intelligence,
right.
Not. If it was like that, like a gorilla, except for it's a Sasquatch, but it's basically a gorilla, right? I think they would release it and say this is just another North American animal that it's in the woods. Are very rare to see. If it's a people, if it's something more, if it's something nefarious, that is reason for it to be covered up. If it's just another animal in North America, I don't think that's enough reason for them to cover it up, in my opinion. Even if it's a big scary monster, grizzly bears are monsters. Those
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Prince Arcane, let's do this. Come on, get his comment out there. Come on, let's. I mean,
all right, do it.
Come on.
Prince Arcane, this one.
If
there's a lot of researchers that speculate on saying and asking the same questions. There are also people who communicate with Sasquatch. Well, that's all we have is speculation, and we ask the same questions because that's what people are finding and trying to answer.
And the people that claim to communicate with Sasquatch also, isn't that if? It's what they're saying. I'm not saying that they don't.
I don't know. We don't know. There's not enough hard evidence. I've not experienced it. But
I communicate with Sasquatch through gifting. Right. They don't talk to me. They've never mind spoke to me. I don't know any Bigfoot's name. If I were to name one, I would have to name it myself. But they do communicate with me, and they have done things for me. They've destroyed my stuff, and they've also built me stuff and done things for me through gifting. Yeah. So that is a form of communication. So what people say that Bigfoot talks to them and tells them this, can I say they're lying? No. Maybe Bigfoot does. Maybe Bigfoot don't like me enough to talk to me. They'll just build me a bench and eat my apples.
Yeah. It's kind of rude, though.
Yeah. They could at least talk to me. They could at least say thank you.
Well, Chad and Dave went camping out in Chad's spot.
You and I did.
And I did. But Chad is using his chair all night, and then he wakes up. There's a big footprint in it. It does, but he's not,
No, not a footprint, a butt print in the chair.
A butt crack print.
It was a butt crack print.
Val sat in the chair.
Yeah.
It was
before we went out into the woods, before Val left, he sat in the chair. It was okay. Go ahead, Chad.
Then we went out in the woods. I came back and we sat in the chair and drank a couple fireballs, and it was still okay. I went to bed and I slept like a baby for some darn reason, man. I didn't wake up until like 7:38 in the morning. You go ahead, Dave. What happened to you that night?
Wow. Okay, that's really putting it out there.
Throwing you under the bus.
All right, buddy. All right. Well, I was sleeping and I woke up at about 4:30, and I woke up and I saw a dark figure in camp, and it was a large dark figure. That's all I can say. And I thought, well, that this should alarm me somehow, that I should consider dangerous and whatever. But I ended up, instead of becoming alerted and waking up, I fell back to sleep. Now, having said that, that's what I saw in camp that night. There was something. I know I wasn't dreaming. I know that I was, in fact, awake. And I fell asleep for about another hour, and then I got up at pre-dawn and just sat there and listened for a couple hours to some movement and some limbs breaking and steps in the woods that I could not necessarily attribute to a squatch, more towards just regular wildlife. But that was an interesting night, and Chad, you would not wake up. Couldn't wake you up to save you, buddy.
Until the morning.
Exactly.
When I got up.
And
I got up to go sit in my chair.
And
I looked at it. No, I looked at my chair, and I looked at Dave. I said, dude, did you do this? He's like, do what? I'm like, why is all this like mud the shape of like a butt crack in my chair. In my chair. He said, I didn't do that. Dude, I wish I'd have took a picture of it. So I just brushed it off and sat in the chair. I sat in the chair in the little plastics at the camp. They're broken.
It was broken.
Like it had too much weight in it. And they just built me a bench that I sit on.
It all came back together. Like, oh wait, that's a butt crack print right there.
Got
a picture of it.
Ernie would love to have had a cast of the butt crack of a Bigfoot, guys.
I know, poor Ernie. At least a picture. He would have been happy with a picture of a butt crack.
We should have cast it. But anyway, that dark figure that I saw in camp that night was over in the direction of the camp chair, is what I can say. Now, what happened? I don't know. I don't know. But it sure looked like a butt crack. That was a butt crack imprint that was left on that chair.
Yeah. And me and Chad's camped there and did a live out in the field, just live on the Facebook group. And just before that, when we were gifting apples and having apples being taken, Chad ended up bringing a lot of people there over a short period of time, and they kind of made him mad, I believe, because the apple tree where we're hanging up, they broke all the branches where we hung the apples from. And
everyone.
They put like barricades on the trails, but we were like, wait a minute, where did this tree come from? We had to step over stuff, go around stuff that was not there. They're very mad, but then they got over it because they made you a bench to sit on.
Now I've seen deer. I've personally seen deer get up on two legs, and they can get up maybe 6 feet or so in height and pick the apples off an apple tree. Now, to be clear that these apples were way higher than could be reached by deer or other animals, I think is an important thing to say.
Yeah, very thin twigs, not even branches, just twigs, very thin. That if a fat raccoon up there, it would break them and stuff, of course. But sometimes some of the apples would be, like, I think 3 of the apples would be gone. Some of the apples would be gone. Some of the apples would stay there. Okay. We also hung up a bag of apples. You and Dave did, actually, and then when
gummy bears.
Gummy bears. Yep.
That's right.
The bag of apples had small like squirrels or something were chewing on. You could see chewed marks, right? But the bag had also been ripped open, and it was very oily residue left on the bag. And so, small animals are not opening up that bag.
What about our camp out?
Yeah.
Our camp out. I had slivers in my hands for a week. They finally have all came out. Will you tell people what we did? You do remember what we did, right?
With me and you?
When we got on all fours and crawled through the tunnel behind the den. We crawled. We actually did. I was intoxicated. It was my idea. Blake was sober. He only had one White Claw, I promise. But I said, let's crawl through this. Because we always say we could crawl through it. We did it, dude. We did. We actually, through the back exit routes, crawled through this. Yes or no?
Yeah, so what it is basically when the forest is all green and stuff, there's hedgerows and there's basically a wall of green. Well, on the other side of the wall of green was basically a little passage, a tunnel inside the foliage and stuff that you could crawl into. And we crawled into it, and it opened up into a little place where you could sit down. And then they had 2 exits. That if you crawled, we went one way, but I crawled the other way a little bit, and it led into another place where you could sit down. And we went out the other way, and it led into a back passage that led back to the trail, but a back passage. And Chad barely had seen it, but if you were standing up in there and someone's walking the trail, you couldn't see that.
We basically crawled like rabbits, except this stuff was big enough for us to crawl through.
Yeah, I mean,
could a deer have made it? Yes, but what happens in this area I don't think it's all deer.
No, it's some of it's not deer. Well, frankly, because it looked like we had a. Well, there's no. We didn't find any deer tracks that particular time, but it's hidden. It's like you. It's like a hidden passage inside the green or something. It's hard to explain. We have evidence of that in the place in Waterloo, where behind camp, where we heard the drumming and stuff. There's these thickets, but in the middle of the thickets, it's hollowed out, and there's a trail that you could sneak through and hide and sit and watch. And it's open enough that a Sasquatch could sit there and move around and crawl and stay hidden. We got pictures of possibly a one on the other side of the road watching us. Linda got, it's either a Bigfoot or a person there. And I don't think it's a person hunting that close to the road, looking at us. So, I think they definitely utilize the terrain and features more than any other animal or person does, really. They see stuff in ways that we just never could. We will never see yet. I mean, they see angles and ways and trajectories, how to run and do in the woods. Far beyond anything we do. So, all right. Let's see. I guess some other questions.
Any more questions? Yeah.
Or let's get Josh back on. Josh, what's your opinion about what we've been talking about? You've been silent. You've listened to it all.
You're the new guy.
Come on. Under the bus, baby.
No, just listening to y'all stories. Some I've heard and some I haven't. The butt crack one was real interesting.
Yeah, it was.
And honestly, you joke about it, but it would have been really cool to get a butt crack cast. I think one of the few. But yeah, it just made me wonder what made it inclined to want to sit in your chair just to see how maybe it saw you do it and was like, hey, I wonder if I could.
It just built me a bench a couple weeks before that. Maybe that's what, because I always sit in this spot. I always sit on a fallen over tree in this spot, and it watches me. I always have a beer, smoke a cigarette. I always sit there and just listen. I'll sit there sometimes if I go by myself. I'll sit there for an hour and a half and just listen. And they know that. They built me well, guess what? He said, I want to see what the seat feels like. Who knows what it was thinking? I don't know what a big
seat. I mean, your 300 plus pound friend, that's the only seat he could sit on.
Yeah, it's the only one he could sit in. He's like 350 pounds.
Probably got mad you weren't using their bench.
No, they wanted to see what my chair felt like. I don't know.
The odd thing about it is, Chad has been habituating this spot for years now, and it has bad results and good results. Bad results of when he took a lot of people there, they got mad and barricaded and broke all where he was, placing the apples. Good results. I mean, we've had some interactions, nonviolent. They built you a bench. They broke a chair, but they built you a bench.
They've built me glyphs in the past. They haven't yet this year, but they built me a bench this year.
You've had sightings out there.
To broad daylight. What about James? Hey, why don't you get into that day? I'm going to mute and tell the story of that day. That's your first day out there, too.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, no, it's your second day. Your second time out there. Your first time was with Bob, Dago, Val, and Dave.
No, that was the second time.
Oh, that was the second time? Okay, your first time. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell that. Come on.
Yeah, the first time going out there, Chad's excited. He wants to show this area. He's trying to get me out there for, I think, weeks now. And we went out there. We walked a certain part of the trail, and we heard a blue jay make an alarm call. And kind of alerted us. We thought we heard something slowly sneaking, making some noise, walk towards us, our way, through the woods. Very slight, slow. So Chad, we continued on trail and stuff. Chad shows us the spot, and where he had his encounter, where his tent was ripped to shreds and stuff. And we get back into the other trail. He's going to show us where he does the apples and stuff. So we go through that. We hang up some apples. We film that. The whole time we're filming. It's actually on the YouTube. And we get to the certain other section. I think we hung up the apples. We're filming the nest area. We just finding some cool, neat structures and stuff. And we get to this part and we're looking and we hear some more birds making alarms, and we hear that same sound of something sneaking up. It sounds like going slow. And I'm filming at the area. I'm filming right there, and we're hearing it. I shut the camera off for 30 seconds, and then Chad and James see something. They see something black. It's out there. They say at the time it's not too big, but it moves away real fast. I turn the camera right back on. I'm filming and stuff. You guys can watch it. I'm like, where was it? Where'd you get? Where was it? And they're like, it was right there. By the pine tree. It was right there. So I proceed to walk there, and I get to basically where that pine tree, and I look down and I see a nice print, a really nice print actually. Got pictures of it, and I'm looking and I see this print, and I tell them to come here. So we focus on that, get a lot of pictures. We didn't have casting material that particular time, so unfortunately, I thought it was a knuckle track, and so here we are. It's like, do we go after what they seen, or do we try to go down this path where it walked up and try to find more prints? And I decided that we should try to find more prints that way. So if you go after a Sasquatch, it's going to run away and stuff, But we had a viable print that was mud. And then we found some interesting maybe toes and stuff, but nothing definitive like that. And you guys did a follow up the next day or two or something after that, and
2 days after.
At the time, you were like, James was like, I don't think it's too much taller than me, James, or myself. I'm only 6 foot, so it wasn't too much taller than me. What you guys were thinking, but when you did the recreation, you're 6'8", Chad. So when you're over there, you're standing in the same spot. What did you guys discover?
Well, I went to this spot. We went right where I saw it in James. James and I were standing right next to it. I had James stand there, and then I walked where I thought I saw it. Then James had me move, I don't know, like 20, 30 feet. And he's like, no, right there is where it is. I'm standing down this embankment, and I'm like, it's coming to me. It's coming up to my chest. And James is filming me. And then we looked at the picture after he filmed me. And I'm like, dude, what we saw was way bigger, way taller than me. And I know we were within just a couple feet of exactly where we spotted it. I'm positive. It's my area. I know my area, and it's not that big. This is in the den nest area. I know that whole den nest area. So that's what our conclusion was.
Shockingly bigger. Yeah, way bigger. And
we didn't think it was bigger than me. We thought it was smaller than me, and no, it was way bigger. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pull up maybe a picture or something real quick of it.
That knuckle print, yeah. See if you can find that.
I don't have the picture of it on this computer, but I have the YouTube thumbnail that we can look at, which the pictures just again doesn't do it justice. And a cast would have been great, but
what was that, February? And we were just getting together. We weren't thinking about this. Now we come more and more prepared every time. We do.
Yeah, we do. I actually just casted it, tracked the last week or whatever. I'll actually get that out for you guys here in a second.
I know. Dave and I saw it. I was pretty impressed with it.
Yeah, it was compelling.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
What, Josh?
I said I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'll go get it. the thumbnail thing ain't gonna really work. It's not gonna be big enough to see any detail on it, anyways. But yeah, I'll go grab that real quick.
But guess what, Josh? Blake always brings his laptop. You'll be able to see it at the birthday party Bigfoot research outing.
Oh, awesome.
On the secret date at the secret place.
Non-disclosed.
Yeah.
Non-disclosed.
Do we have any other questions that we could
I haven't seen any. I'm looking.
hit up while we're waiting for Blake to come back?
I don't know. Anybody got any questions? Probably not.
Let's talk until he comes back. Let's talk a little bit about Squatch Dog.
All right, you want to talk about Squatch Dog and Squatch Dog's page?
Squatch Dog's page. Go to Squatch Dog's page. Squatch Dog.
Yeah.
Facebook,
Boris,
baby.
Squatch
Come here,
Dog.
Squatch Dog. Come here.
Let's see Squatch
Get over
Dog.
here. Come here.
Oh.
Come here, Shovel.
We're gonna be
Great.
Come here. Oh, stretch. Yep, there you go. Hi, my buddy.
we're gonna be doing something really cool with Squatch Dog. We're not gonna let you know right now, but we're working with it, and it's gonna be awesome. And he is going to be a internet sensation. He's gonna be a star.
That's right.
He's gonna be it's gonna be awesome. So I'm really excited about that,
He's definitely the best looking of all of us.
without a doubt.
You know, he goes out there and he researches with us. It's kind of funny. He knows as soon as he picks me up or he goes out and
Dude, he loves you. What are you kidding, man? The minute the minute I pull in your yard, he's like,
oh, we're having fun this weekend.
he's
We're
like,
going
yeah,
somewhere.
it's gonna be a good day today.
He alerts us and stuff, and very viable. You know,
Absolutely.
It seems like he knows what we're in these areas for because he's sniffed around, he's circled around us, he's acted weird, funky. But he never really barks and growls at anything that happens, even if we had activity. He's
He only growled when we got attacked in the up in Roscommon. It's the only time out in the he growled. That's the only place he's ever growled in the field. He's never even barked he has in Florida, and it came flying back and hid behind me. But here in Michigan, in the last year, he growled up in Roscommon when Brian and I got attacked by something we couldn't see.
Right.
Believe it or not, something happened to Brian and I at the same time.
Well, I got the Bigfoot cast. I'm about to choke him out. Though.
All right, here we go.
Where you go?
All right, hang on. He's drowned. He's drowned.
I'm drowning myself. All right. I got this. I found this randomly. I'm walking and I'm looking at the area. Leaflet are everywhere. You know, you can't find tracks anywhere. And there's this overturned tree, and on the backside, where the root ball was a little puddle and mud area. And as I'm walking up to it, there's a single big impression on the side of it. I get closer. I'm like, oh, you know, what is that? I get closer, and it really looks like a footprint. I'm like, wow, and it's massive. And so, I made a cast of it. And this is the upper half. So the heel and stuff actually extends and would be probably like right here.
Wow.
Okay, so these up here are the toes and stuff, but right here, from here to here, this massive width. If you look at your foot, that's the wide part of the upper part of your foot, the bones. I don't know what they're called.
It's called the ball.
The ball of your foot, the size of the ball of your foot. This is the ball of your foot right here, from here to here. I didn't have enough casting material to cast the heel, and also it was halfway submerged in water too. This is actually my second casting ever, so it's not perfect and stuff, but it was a lot better than the first one I did.
Pretty good job for number 2.
I think so. You can actually, if you're close to it, you can feel it's raised up right here, and then it goes back down in to where like the toes are, like how your feet is raised up on the ball and curves in with the toes. And the heel was good too. The heel was, had a very nice round heel to it. this print was in the mud, so it might be deformed and displaced a little bit because of the mud and how Bigfoot and all that. But it was 16 inches long by this is about 9 inches wide right here, and then at the very bottom of the heel, it was about 5.5 inches at the heel. Massive track. Now it might be
That is.
in real life, it might be an inch or so smaller because it stepped in mud and the mud might widen it, but it's a massive, it was massive track, and it was randomly there, just randomly there. You would think a Bigfoot wouldn't do that on purpose, unless it was on purpose or something. I'm not sure. I tried looking for more tracks, and in the leaf litter you can see impressions, but can't cast it. It doesn't look like anything besides just an impression. So yeah.
Nice find, man. I'm still pissed though, dude. You didn't call me to come out with you.
No.
You went and found it by yourself. No witness.
Yeah, no witnesses. They could have got me too, and it's.
Hey, could have. Next time, call me, dude.
I tell you what, seeing this and casting it, and just seeing how.
Yeah, as you're looking behind your back, you're pouring it, looking behind your back, and
would smash your head in if it stepped on you. Thing.
Yeah.
It really, kind of puts a realization of, man, just these things are powerful. These things are powerful and big.
Yeah.
Gene had a question. I think it's mostly directed to me. Something about dogs and wanted to know. Well, Gene, I had bad results in my habituation area with my Great Danes, which unfortunately, rest in peace, are no longer with me. I do not bring my dog into any area I habituate or have any possible relationship where they know exactly who I am regularly. Now, I take my dog with me when I research in outside areas, and the Bigfoot may be familiar with me because I've been there a couple times. But yes, my dog goes with me unless it's my habituation area.
Yeah, we kind of keep them out of there because we've already had bad experiences, and with your dogs, and with you bringing more people than they were comfortable with. I guess I'm not sure. And that's why habituation is kind of bad, because you can piss them off real fast without knowing it, without doing it on purpose. And then whatever they do, it's what they're going to do. Luckily for us, it wasn't too bad. But it was definitely known that, it wasn't okay. We were getting blocked from going into this area, so. But
destroyed my gifting tree that I had for years. I mean, literally beautiful. I had little branches to hang apples on. Came back the next day after bringing everybody in there. That tree looked like shag bark.
Yeah, like I said, there was a whole it was like that big around, but a whole nice big branch with some other small branches on it in the middle of this path. It's all in a thicket anyways. It's all on deer path smalls. So it's shoved up into there. That didn't fall. That wasn't there before. So it's toss a coin. You're gonna get heads or tails, or good or bad. What's gonna happen? And in the long run, it's probably just gonna be bad because, like I said, if you just piss them off so easily without knowing it, whatever they think the appropriate response is, you better hope it's not so too bad.
How ironic! Jing used to raise Great Danes, and put the comment up there. It's not a question.
And they were not good when the Sasquatch were around. No. I'm sure Bigfoots don't like Great Danes either. They're pretty big dogs, so I'm sure they equate that to more powerful of a dog, I would assume.
How much you weigh, Blake?
I haven't weighed myself in a while, but I'm 220.
All right. Well,
220.
My Great Danes were like in the 180s. So I mean, they're like gigantic dogs. I mean, they're bigger than most people.
No. If you stand a Great Dane, I'll be taller, as tall as you. Chad.
Hold on, Chad. What happened to your couch? You were telling me.
I had a Great Dane. It was 6 months old. Okay. We had our living room that was a lower level, but just one step up into the family room. I come home one day. I don't put my dog up. It's 6 months old. I'm starting to trust him. I come home. The couch is dragged up into the upper room. It's just only one step up. And it's just destroyed. And there is just cotton and foam and material just everywhere. And yeah, so
exploded.
no, this is, and then here I come home. I'm the first to find it. My dad's at work, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to explain this? My dog, I was the one that was in trouble, not my dog. Because my dad was like, you dummy, yeah, it's a 6-month-old puppy. It's not even totally trained yet. Why would you just leave it, let it run loose through the house all day long?
The couch was its play toy.
Yeah. It's a true story, man, I'm telling you. Let's get Josh. Come on, give us some ideas. Give us some thoughts. I mean, really tell us what you think about. You're new to us. I know you barely know us, but what do you think? Are you excited for the things that we've talked to you about in the future?
I'm definitely am. I've got a lot of ideas I'd like to play around with. I've got some ideas on equipment I'd like to order and use. I know a big one. I'm not going to say it right now, but
it's super secret, huh?
It's not. Yeah, y'all have already talked about it, and it's something I would like to do as well. I'm very excited to use all that and test out new theories. There's some things I haven't gotten to test out yet that I would like to do. That I'm looking forward to doing, especially the secret location further up north. That one I'm really excited about, because it's a lot more wild up there, and not as built up, and I feel that some of the things I want to do is going to work a lot better out there than it would here with closer people closer proximity to each other. But yeah, I am very excited about a lot of these other trips and projects that are coming up.
Yeah, and trying to collect evidence. That's one of the main things that we're going to be doing, and getting that good equipment, good quick cameras and all that, and making sure the cameras are in the right settings and stuff and all that, because that's important too. We don't want crappy footage or the wrong setting, completely not usable footage or anything. And it's a big thing. I know a lot of people stress that as knowing your equipment, having good equipment, and being able to use your equipment the right way, because taking pictures with your cell phone and stuff, or trying to have a Bigfoot, that's not good enough. We need good equipment. And so we got some great trips planned in some wild areas, dangerous areas, scary dangerous areas where people do go missing, go missing. Bears eat people, eat each other, massive bears.
Don't make it sound so scary. Come on, we're gonna lose members.
It is, and it's not for the faint of heart. It's going to be an extreme type of situation of hiking out there, and it's roughing it. It's not going to be any trails. It's off trail through swamps,
swamp tromping. Come on.
Yes, you ever been swamp tromping, Josh?
Yeah, a few times.
Right.
Especially being from down south where it's below sea level. There's a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, we don't have no crocodiles or alligators. Alligators up here, but
we don't have poisonous snakes per se. I mean, for the most part, not aquatic ones.
I think we don't have aquatic ones. We definitely have sea creatures, sea serpents, sea monsters, and probably some swamp monsters too. The Great Lakes has a lot of stories and history and actual video evidence out there of sea serpents, monsters, these things, and they go a lot of stories of they spawn and breed upriver. A lot of lake monsters, river monster stories are like that. They spawn upriver and stuff, and they go into swamps and stuff. And some of these swamps in Michigan are super old, really old, and we don't know what's underneath the water, what's in the mud, what's underneath there. What's underground cave systems? You know, there's a lot of karst. A lot of karst features. If you guys don't know what that is, I highly suggest you check that out. It's features that water makes inside the landscape. And anyways,
right. Okay. Grammar Nazi said venomous. I don't know. Maybe I mispronounced it.
poisonous, venomous. Yes.
Okay, and then Grammar Nazi. I called you out.
Snakes are venomous.
Gave you your 5 seconds. Now Gene has a question. Are we gonna film live or are we putting that up later? We always go do some live, Gene, but most of what we film is not even out yet. We have hundreds and hundreds of hours of film that has to get put together into a documentary type style and the audio to add into it. But yes, Gene, we will go live some at all locations if we have signal. If we don't have signal, we can't.
Right, that's a big thing too, because it's good going live, but if the quality of that picture's not good, I mean, you're not going to be seeing really much of anything.
We were just in. Where were we just at, Dave? Pinckney. He's live, man. We got about 25 seconds of live and gone. Sorry to interrupt you, Blake.
No, yeah, we are going to go live. We mostly go live on the Facebook right now. We are going to go live on the YouTube. We film a lot of stuff because it looks better camera equipment than going live on a phone. So it looks better that way. You can see stuff better. So, but yeah, we are going to go live more. We're going to be doing a lot more projects, activities, group discussions, in the field stuff, campfire stories when it gets warmer out. And, we are hopefully, if COVID gets better, we hope to invite some of you guys out here and stuff. We want to get out and have these great researchers come to Michigan. We want to work with people. We want to do whatever, we're willing to travel too, pretty much.
When are we going to Florida? I want to go see Mark Zasky. I want to go see Mark.
Yeah, I know you see Mark. Dave Sheely invited us out there.
Yeah.
So we got some places down there to go to.
We have friends down in Georgia as well.
We got one
guy in here.
Texas, yeah. I'd like to get us down to Sam Houston in the big thicket.
Texas. I know there's some spots in Texas that I've been wanting to go to.
Okay.
That'd be amazing.
Here's the problem though, Josh. We almost all have muck boots now. We don't have snake boots. So what are we gonna do about that?
Get yourself a nice pair of cowboy boots.
Yeah. Yeah, we got so much stuff planned. We hope and do a lot more.
Last time I wore cowboy boots, Josh, I went bull riding, but that's an entirely another story for another time.
Thank God. I don't want to hear this one.
I've got it on film. So I've got it on film too. So
real bull or electric?
Real bull, buddy. Yeah, I did it.
That thing probably pranced around. No, he got on it. Probably walked around the corral like a horse. It didn't buck at all. It was probably like.
Dude, I got my ass handed to me.
Did you laugh? Did you laugh more than 2 seconds?
Yes, but I left a very good ass imprint on the ground where I landed.
So you're the one that broke my chair.
No, I did not break your chair. I had nothing to do with your chair, Chad. I can assure you.
Well, guys, it's been about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I think that's probably a good enough show to end it about here.
I'm surprised you didn't end it sooner. I'm going to have to get a drink of water after this.
I know, right? I was choking up. My kids, my little squatches are behaving, and they're actually in bed on time, not staying up cranky. So I'm able to do this and stuff. That decides everything right there.
I look forward to the birthday weekend, dude. I really do. All of you guys, because all four of us are going to be there. There's probably going to be 20 people there that are at least going to show up for one day.
Very cool. Very cool.
We got research and stuff, but thank you everyone in the chat who stuck with us the entire time. Thanks for asking questions.
Half of them went to bed already.
Oh yeah, man. We appreciate each and every one of you guys though,
and well, be sure to hit up Squatch Dog at his Facebook site. Be sure to hit up Lost Cryptids. Be sure to hit up Josh's podcast as well.
Let's shout out Val real quick. Can you shout out Val?
Yep. Yeah. Val and his Michigan Bigfoot data and reporting, Gumshoe Guy's Corner.
Definitely.
And he has the guy is a library of information. It is an amazing site, and he's doing some amazing work, and we are very lucky to have him with us in our.
He's a great friend
along with our group. Totally.
If you guys want to learn something, you need to join that group, because I'm telling you what, every day you're gonna learn something new.
And then Josh too, when you're done. Go ahead, finish. But then
go ahead, Josh. Plug in your.
Plug in Josh. Give it, man. Come on, sell us.
Oh, check out my podcast at it's Hide and Seek Archives. You can find it pretty much anywhere: Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can also check out the Facebook page, Hide and Seek Archives. That'll give you a direction to a podcast as well.
Yeah, and I'll put a link to all this stuff in the description. So hopefully, another day. It takes a while for YouTube to process live shows, but so next tomorrow will be up. But also, we got shirts and stuff. So you guys want some Lost Cryptids merchandise, some shirts and stuff? Check it out. I'll have a link in the description. You guys can get some quality homemade shirts to represent us, and we got some good stuff here in the future plans. So trust me, you'll be wanting to stick with us if you guys want to attend some stuff that will be a throw-in that you guys can come join, meet up. So stay tuned for more from the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. Thank you guys so much.
What about that intro to exit?
Intro to exit.
Intro to exit. Come on.
Read my mind. All right, guys.
Say it one more time. All right.
Welcome to the Lost Cryptids Conservatory, where we will shatter your reality to bring you closer to the truth.